Hi everyone! In this video, I'll teach you how to solve and analyze basic op-amp circuits including the inverting amplifier, non-inverting amplifier, the differential amplifier, and the summing amplifier. So before we solve problems, let me first discuss the basic characteristics and properties of op-amps that we will use as a basis for our solution. Okay? So if you're ready, let's begin. So here is the schematic symbol of a basic op-amp. As we can see, we have two input terminals, the inverting input and the non-inverting input. So we don't say negative and positive inputs, okay? Instead, we say inverting and non-inverting inputs. Now, on the right-hand side, we have the output terminal. The approach that I will teach you on how to analyze and solve op-amp circuits is based on the characteristics of ideal op-amps. Now, is it safe to assume that an op-amp is ideal? The answer is yes, for all practical purposes. Why? Because real op-amps have characteristics that approach those of ideal op-amps. So now, what are the important characteristics of ideal op-amps? First, an ideal op-amp has an infinite input impedance. Okay, so because the impedance at the input of an op-amp is 0, then no current will be entering the op-amp. Okay, because this op-amp has an infinite input impedance, then its input is equivalent to an open circuit. Okay, next important property is that an op-amp has an infinite voltage gain. Okay, and lastly, an op-amp, which is ideal, has a zero output impedance. Now, if we will compare these properties to those of a real or a practical op-amp, a real op-amp has an input impedance that is extremely high. That is several mega ohms or tens or hundreds of mega ohms. That's the input impedance of practical op-amps, commercially available op-amps in reality. How about the gain? Although ideal op-amps have infinite voltage gain, practical op-amps have voltage gains that are in the order of several hundred thousands up to several millions. Okay? So napakalaki ng voltage gain na yan. Kaya sinasabi natin ideally, yun ay infinite. And for the output impedance, real op-amps have output impedances that are low, several ohms only. For example, a representative op-amp, which is very commonly used, the 741 op-amp, according to its data sheet, has an input impedance of 2 mega ohms. And for its voltage gain, the gain is around 200,000. And for the output impedance, it's 75 ohms. Again, those are from the spec sheets of the 741 op-amp. Let me repeat. For the input impedance, it's typically 2 mega ohms. For the output impedance, it's around 75 ohms only. And for the voltage gain, which is the open loop gain of the op-amp, it's typically around 200,000. Now, there are op-amps whose voltage gains are greater than 200,000. They may reach up to several millions. So, those are the characteristics of practical op-amps as compared to ideal op-amps. Now, what makes up an op-amp? An op-amp actually consists of several transistors inside of it. So, basically, it's a complex circuit. A single op-amp may consist of more than 10 transistors inside. If we're going to simplify the internal circuitry of an op-amp, it consists of 3 stages. What are these? The first stage is the differential amplifier stage. So from the name itself, it's an amplifier that amplifies the difference between the two input signals. Whatever the difference of the two input signals is, it's amplified, no? And carried on to the next stage. Now, the differential amplifier is followed by a series of voltage amplifiers. So they are cascaded, meaning they are connected in series. Okay? So that is where the op-amp gets its extremely high voltage gain. Because of course, we know that if we have amplifiers connected in cascade, the overall gain can be obtained by multiplying the individual voltage gains. So for example, the first stage, an op-amp has a gain of 50. And if there are 4 stages whose gains are all 50, then the overall voltage gain will be 50 raised to 4, which will give us an extremely large value. So again, that is where the op-amp gets its extremely high voltage gain. So if there are no other connections to the op-amp, that extremely high gain is what we call the open loop gain of the op-amp. Now, the last stage is a push-pull amplifier. That push-pull amplifier is just a buffer. No, it doesn't really amplify. It's usually made of a common collector or an emitter follower amplifier, whose gain of course we know is equal to 1. That's why it only serves as a buffer. And in addition, we know that a common collector has a low output impedance. And that is why the output impedance of the op-amp is also low. That is because of that output stage, which is usually made of an emitter follower, whose output impedance is low. Okay? So now that we know these basic properties of the op-amp, we are now ready to solve and analyze op-amp circuits. But before we solve actual op-amp circuits, let me introduce to you an important equation that would serve as a basis of our solution. Okay, now using the fact that an op-amp has an infinite voltage gain and the output of the op-amp, of course, cannot be infinite. No? The output voltage of the op-amp is limited by the supply voltage, which of course has a limited value. For example, the normal supply voltages would be 10 volts or 15 volts or 20 volts. Still, these values are finite. We have a finite output. And how about the voltage gain? The voltage gain is ideally infinite because it's practically very large. Then, knowing these two, we can determine the input. The input voltage of the op-amp is actually equal to the difference between the inputs at the two terminals. Okay, so let's denote it as VD. Okay, so VD is the difference between the input voltages here, okay, which we can label as V minus and V plus. Now, we can calculate this VD because of course we know that the output voltage is equal to the input voltage, which is VD, multiplied by the voltage gain. Okay, now, considering that this VO is limited and this AV is extremely high, which for all practical purposes can be approximated to be infinite. No? If this denominator becomes extremely huge, so we say it's infinite, then this VD will approach 0. So this VD will now be equal to 0. So what does this imply? It only implies that if this VD is 0, then V plus would be equal to V minus. Yes, this equation is of utmost importance in the analysis of op-amp circuits, and this is what we call the ideal op-amp equation. Ayan no, V plus equals V minus. Yan ang gagamitin nating basis dun sa simplified solution na ituturo ko sa inyo. Okay? So lagi nating tatandaan, because an op-amp has an infinite voltage gain, then V plus equals V minus. Another important thing to consider is that the input impedance of the op-amp is also infinite. That's why we can assume that the input is an open circuit. Gagamitin natin yan mamaya dun sa ating mga analysis. Okay? Now, since VD is equal to 0, then It's as if the input is connected to ground, but actually it's not. Yan ang tinatawag natin na concept ng virtual ground. Okay? So ano ang ibig sabihin ng virtual ground concept? Dahil yung nakukompute natin na VD ay equal sa 0, it's as if the input of the op-amp is connected to ground. Because alam naman natin ang ground, 0 ang potential. But obviously, it's not. Kasi may input voltage tayong inilagay dun sa dalawang input terminals ng op-amp. Kaya sinasabi natin na yan ay virtual ground. And this virtual ground is a consequence of the infinite voltage gain of the op-amp. Okay? Now, since we have already learned these important properties of the op-amp, we can now consider analyzing and solving practical op-amp circuits. The first practical op-amp circuit is called the inverting amplifier. So as we can see, an inverting amplifier consists of an op-amp and two resistors. We have an input resistor, R1 or Ri, and we have a feedback resistor, Rf. So as we can see, the output is fed back into the input, into the inverting terminal. That's why the circuit is called an inverting amplifier. So we can expect that since this amplifier is inverting, its output is out of phase with the input. So now, ano ang gain ng op-amp circuit na ito? Okay? To find the equation of the gain, we will make use of the ideal op-amp equation na na-derive natin kanina. So here, we have V plus, and here, we have V minus. And we say that V plus equals V minus. And since the non-inverting terminal is connected directly to ground, then we can say that V plus equals 0 again because the inverting terminal is connected directly to ground. Now, that means V minus must also be equal to 0. Now, how do we get the equation of the gain? Applying the concept that the input of the op-amp is open, then the current flowing through this resistor must be equal to the current flowing through RF because no current will enter the op-amp because the input of the op-amp is an open circuit. If these two currents are the same, then we can find an equation VI or V1 minus V minus divided by the resistor R1 or Ri equals V minus minus VO divided by the resistor RF. Now we know that V minus is 0, right? And we would like to find the equation of the gain, which is VO over VI. Of course, we know that the gain is always the output over the input. And obviously, from this equation, VO over VI is simply negative of RF over Ri. So, dear students, this is the equation of the gain of a non-inverting amplifier, which we're able to derive using the characteristics of an ideal op-amp. Di ba madali lang? So, tandaan na po natin ha, kapag ang given circuit ay isang inverting op-amp, yung gain niya, that is simply negative RF over Ri. Okay? Now, the next circuit is the non-inverting amplifier. So, we can see that the input is applied to the non-inverting terminal. That's why it's called a non-inverting amplifier. And we can also expect that since the input is at the non-inverting terminal, the output and the input will be in phase with each other. Our goal is to determine the equation of the gain, which is VO over VI. So how do we get the equation of the gain? Again, we will consider the properties of the ideal op-amp. So, V plus equals V minus. And since the input is directly connected to the non-inverting terminal, then V plus must be equal to V in. And also, V minus must be equal to V in. After that, we can notice that this R1 or Ri forms a series combination with RF. Why? Because of course, again, the input of the op-amp is open. So no current will be flowing through this part, and R1 or Ri and Rf will form a series combination. And if they form a series combination, they form a voltage divider. And using voltage divider, we can get the voltage here, which is V minus. Okay? Using the voltage divider formula, we can get the voltage at this point, which is V minus, which is equal to VO times Ri divided by Ri plus Rf. And since V minus equals V in, we can replace it by V in. V in equals VO times Ri over Ri plus Rf. And now, we would like to solve for the gain, which is VO over Vi or V in. That is equal to Ri plus Rf over Ri, or 1 plus Rf over Ri. So now, we're able to derive the equation of the gain or a non-inverting amplifier. Okay? Kanina yung inverting, ano nga ang formula? Negative Rf over Ri. Yan ay pang inverting amplifier. Kapag non-inverting naman, 1 plus Rf over Ri. So, saan sila nagkaiba? Kapag non-inverting ang amplifier, ang input ay nasa non-inverting terminal. Kapag ka naman inverting amplifier, ang input ay nasa inverting terminal. So, tandaan lang po natin yung mga formulas at yung circuit ng specific amplifier. Okay? Now, one more thing, yung gain na na-compute natin, yan ang tinatawag na closed loop voltage gain ng op-amp. Why? Because these op-amp circuits have feedbacks already. Gumagamit sila ng actually negative feedback yan. Bakit? Because the output is fed back to the input via the inverting terminal. So for these two circuits, the inverting amplifier and the non-inverting amplifier, both of them use negative feedback. Okay? And the gains that we derived are called closed loop voltage gains. Now, let's have this circuit called the unity follower. So as we can see, the input is also applied to the non-inverting terminal. So this is like a non-inverting amplifier. However, there is no feedback resistor. Why? Because as we can see, the output is fed directly to the input via the inverting terminal. So still, this circuit makes use of negative feedback. But since the output is directly fed to the input, then we can say that Rf in this case is 0. But it's like a non-inverting amplifier, right? What is the gain of a non-inverting amplifier? 1 plus Rf over Ri. So if this Rf becomes 0, what remains of the gain is simply equal to 1. That's why we call it a unity follower, because its gain is equal to 1 or unity. So, sir, what is the purpose of this amplifier? It doesn't seem to amplify because its gain is 1. So, what is this amplifier for? This is used as a buffer amplifier. This is used for interfacing two circuits. For example, you have a high impedance circuit and you want to connect it to a low impedance circuit. So, what you do is you put a buffer amplifier in between to match the impedances. So this buffer amplifier doesn't really amplify. It only serves as an interfacing circuit to connect to circuits that have a mismatched impedances. So that is the purpose of a unity follower, okay, as a buffer amplifier. Now that I have already explained to you the three basic op-amp circuit configurations, then it's now time for us to solve practical op-amp circuits. We'll focus on solving the output voltage. Okay? So here is the first example. In an op-amp inverting amplifier, Ri is 100 kilo ohms and Rf is 500 kilo ohms. What is the output? if the input voltage is 2 volts. So, the output voltage, of course, is equal to the input multiplied by the gain. Okay? So, since the input is 2 volts, we multiply it by the gain, which is negative of RF over Ri. Okay, so 500K over 100K, of course, is 5. Negative 5 times 2 is negative 10 volts. So that is how easy it is to find the output voltage of practical op-amp circuits. Okay? Ang mahalaga dito, you know the equation of the gain. And by applying the equation, you can solve for the output by multiplying the input by the gain. Okay? So, it's quite easy. Another important thing is that you should be able to recognize the given circuit. Okay, just like this. So, since the input is applied to the inverting terminal, then this must be an inverting amplifier. Okay? So, determine the value of RF required to produce a closed loop voltage gain of negative 75. If the input is 50 millivolts, what is the output? Okay, so again, we know that since this is an inverting amplifier, the gain equals negative RF over Ri. And this gain has to be equal to negative 75. So we want to find the value of RF. So this RF is equal to Ri, which is 2.2 kilo ohms multiplied by 75. Okay, so with the use of a calculator, we can easily solve for RF. 2.2K times 75. This gives us 165 kilo ohms. Okay, so this RF has to be equal to 165 ohms. Now, what is the output if the input is 50 millivolts? So, knowing that the gain is 75, we simply multiply the gain with the input, which is 50 millivolts. So, the answer is 3,750 millivolts or 3.75. Okay, so the output is equal to 3.75 volts. Because our unit here is millivolts. So converting it to volts gives us 3.75 volts. Okay? So madali lang, ano? Madali lang talaga. Okay, next. What circuit is given in this example? So since the input is applied to the non-inverting terminal, then this must be a non-inverting amplifier. So, find the closed loop voltage gain and determine the output if the input is 120 millivolts. Okay, we can recall that for a non-inverting amplifier, the voltage gain is 1 plus RF over Ri. So, substituting the values directly to the calculator, we have 1 plus RF is 100K and Ri is 4.7. So the answer is 22.3. 22.3. Okay, so this is the magnitude of the gain. Now, we would like to find the output voltage, VO, by multiplying the input by this gain. So we have 120 millivolts times the gain. This gives us 2673 millivolts or approximately 2.67 volts. So 2.67 volts. So there you go, guys. Very easy. Madali lang. Ano? Again, kinakailangan lang marunong kang mag-identify ng circuit at alam mo yung formula ng gain ng circuit na given. Okay? So, madali lang po talaga ito. Next example, we have a differential amplifier. So, from the name itself, differential amplifier, it amplifies the difference between the two input signals. So, as we can see, we have symmetric resistances here. Both input resistors have the same value and the feedback resistor has the same value as this resistor. Ano? So, this is a balanced differential amplifier. Okay? So, normally, these two resistors are the same and normally, these two resistances are also the same. So, how do we get the output? Again, i-apply lang natin yung properties ng ideal op-amp. Magagamit natin yung equation na ang V plus ay equal sa V minus. And yung input ng op-amp ay parang open circuit. Diba? Kasi nga ideally infinite na kanyang input impedance. So, yung kuryente dito must be equal to the current here. Okay? Walang kuryente doon, 0, at saka ito, 0 din yan. Okay? So, walang kuryente dyan, kaya tanggalin na lang natin. So, sagutan natin yung letter A. Ano? V1 is 4 millivolts and V2 is 0. So, if this V2 is 0, then common sense will tell us that V plus must also be equal to 0 volts, right? And therefore, V minus must also be equal to 0. Okay, so since the current flowing here and the current flowing here are equal, kasi nga po open yung input ng op-amp, then yung V1 na 4 millivolts minus yung V minus na equal sa 0 divided by yung resistance na 8 kilo ohms equals, again, V minus, which is 0, minus the voltage here, which is VO, divided by the resistance 120. So, paano gumawa ng equation? Okay, so those voltages divided by the resistor na dinaanan, no? Pinanggalingan minus pupuntahan divided by dinaanan. So, yun yung equation ng current. Dito naman sa kabila, again, pinanggalingan minus pupuntahan divided by dinaanan. Okay? So, ganun gumawa ng equation ng current. So, now, pwede na nating makompute yung VO dito. Ayan, no? So, yung VO natin ay 4 over 8 times 120. Diba? Yung 4 over 8 is 1/2 yun eh. Diba? Times 120, of course, that's 60. Okay? So, the answer must be equal to 60 millivolts. Okay? Pero, yung VO natin dito may negative sign, kaya ito, magkakaroon din ng negative sign. Okay? So, that's it. Ganun lang po kadali. For letter B naman, ang V1 ay 0 at ang V2 ay 6 millivolts. Okay? So, para ma-solve natin yan, kunin muna natin yung voltage dito sa V+. Okay? Yung V+, makukuha natin by applying voltage divider. Ano yung madi-divide? Yung V2, madi-divide sa 8K at saka sa 120. So, yung V+, that's the voltage across the 120K resistor. So, kunin natin yun, ano? So, V+ equals V2 na ang value ay 6 millivolts times 120 divided by 120 plus 8 is 128. So, sa calculator, madali lang yan. 6 times 120 divided by 128. This gives us 5.625. So, we have 5.625 millivolts. Okay. Now, we can apply the ideal op-amp equation that V plus equals V minus. Ano? So, since nakuha na natin yung V plus dito, then yung V minus dito equal lang doon sa V plus here. Okay? And formulating the equation of the currents, we have V1. Ano nga yung V1? 0. 0 minus yung V minus na 5.625 millivolts divided by 8. A equals yung V minus here, which is 5.625 millivolts minus yung VO divided by yung resistor na dinaanan, 120. Hindi ko na inilagay yung mga units kasi magka-cancel lang din naman sila. Ano po? So, to find VO, ang gagawin lang natin is i-substitute natin yan sa calculator. Ano? So, we have negative of 5.625 divided by 8. We multiply it by 120. Tapos yung sagot, maminusan mo nito, oh. Maminusan mo ng 5.625. So, yung nakuha nating sagot dyan ay yung negative VO. No? So VO, of course, can be obtained by multiplying the answer by -1. So the answer is positive 90. So VO is positive 90 millivolts. Okay? So, di ba, ang dali lang? Actually, yung susunod na tanong, yung letter C at saka yung letter D, makukuha mo using the same procedure. Ano po? So, ang technique dyan again is, hanapin mo muna yung V plus using voltage divider. Pag nalaman mo na yung V plus gamit yung voltage divider, yung V plus dito magiging equal sa V minus here. Ano? Tapos after that, gamitin mo na yung current equations. Yung kuryente dito na V1 minus V minus over R1 must be equal to V minus minus VO over RF. So from that, pwede mo nang masolve yung VO. So ganun lang yung gawin mo sa letter C at saka sa letter D, makukuha mo na yung tamang sagot. Okay? So you can do that as a practice. Okay? So ayan, pagpraktisan mo na ngayon. Ano? You can pause the video and practice solving for the VO for letter C and letter D using the technique na tinuro ko sa inyo. Okay? So, madali lang yan. Ano? Ngayon, may mas madaling technique actually. Kung sa tingin niyo madali yon, may mas madaling technique. Since yan ay differential amplifier, ang output ay laging proportional saan? Difference ng input or VD. Ang gagamitin lang natin is, i-multiply mo lang lagi yung VD, yung difference ng inputs, no, dun sa RF over RI. Ayan. So kahit paano ang value ng V1 at V2, gagana yung formula na ito. Try natin itong technique na ito, yung sinasabi kong shortcut, para kunin yung sagot sa letter A. Alam naman natin na ang V1 ay 4 millivolts at ang V2 ay 0. Diba? So ang difference nila, 4 millivolts. Saan ko i-multiply? Sa RF over RI. Yung RF natin ay 120. Diba? At ang RI natin ay 8. Kaya ang sagot dyan ay 60. Okay, so for letter A, the answer is 60 millivolts. However, paano mo malalaman yung tamang sign? Titingnan mo kung nasa ang input yung mas malaki. 'Di ba? Mas malaki yung input sa V1. At ang V1 nakakonekta sa negative. Kaya dapat yung output negative din. Okay? So, 'di ba ganun lang kadali? Kanina gumamit ka pa ng V plus equals V minus. Tapos after that, yung dalawang current, equate mo para ma-solve yung V. O ngayon hindi na, very straightforward. Kaya nga sabi ko sa inyo, ito yung shortcut. Mas madali ito. Okay? Pero of course, kapag yung prof mo, ni-require ka ng solution, hindi naman pwedeng yung shortcut yung gamitin mo. Kailangan makapag-provide ka ng mathematical basis kung bakit ganun ang value ng output. So yung itinuro ko kanina, pwede mong gamitin para may basis ka, na may mathematical basis ka or proof na magpapatunay na ganun talaga ang sagot. Pero kung gusto mong mabilisan lang, yung nakukuha yung output dun sa tingin, then ito yung mas madaling paraan. Okay? Sagutan naman natin yung letter B. For letter B, ang V1 ay 0, ang V2 ay 6. So natural, ang difference natin ay 6. Tapos, i-multiply mo ulit siya sa RF over RI na 120 over 8. So, ang sagot natin ay 90 millivolts. Okay? 90 millivolts. Ganun kadali. Diba? So, ngayon, ano ang sign? Positive ba yan o negative? Mas malaki yung V2 kasi 6 millivolts sa kanya. Tapos yung V1 ay 0. So, dahil mas malaki yung V2 at nakakonekta siya sa positive, dapat ang sagot positive din. Okay? So, ikumpara natin yan dun sa sagot natin kanina. Ayan, no? Tama. 60 millivolts negative at saka 90 millivolts positive. Okay? So ngayon, di ba sabi ko sa iyo pagpraktisan mong computin yung VO for letter C at saka for letter D. O ngayon, malalaman mo na kung tama yung sagot mo. Kasi isosolve natin to using the shortcut. Ano ang shortcut? Kunin mo again yung difference at i-multiply mo sa RF over RI. Okay? Ano ba ang difference nitong letter C? Di ba 40 minus 30, ang sagot ay 10. Pag kinompute mo, ang sagot ay 150. So, we have 150 millivolts. Positive ba ito o negative? Mas malaki sa V1, di ba? So, ang V1 nakakonekta sa negative, kaya dapat ang sagot, negative 150 millivolts. So kung yan yung nakuha mong sagot kanina, then ang galing mo. No? Kasi natutunan mo yung pagko-compute ng output gamit yung technique na tinuro ko kanina. Now, let's solve for VO ng letter D. So for letter D, palitan lang natin yung VD. Ano? So sa letter D, ang VD ay 40 minus 25, which is 15. Ano? So ang sagot dyan, 225. So we have 225 millivolts. Positive or negative? Saan mas malaki? Mas malaki sa V2 na nakakonekta sa positive. Kaya ang tamang sagot, positive, 225 millivolts. Okay, di ba? Ang dali lang. So, kung nakuha mo yung sagot dun sa letter D at tama yung sagot mo, ibig sabihin talaga niya natutunan mo yung technique na gumagamit ng properties ng ideal op-amp para makapag-solve ng VO. Di ba? Dalawang properties lang yung ginamit natin. Ano yun? Ideally, infinite ang bandwidth at ideally, infinite ang input impedance. O, di ba? Ang dali lang. Okay. Sunod na example. What if meron tayong multiple op-amp circuits? Tapos, ayan, pinagdugtong-dugtong sila, may input, inahanap yung output. Anong gagawin mo? Madali lang, kinakailangan lang ma-identify mo. Anong klaseng circuit yung bawat isa? Kagaya nito, alam naman natin na unity follower yan, di ba? So, since unity follower yan, ang input at output niya equal lang. So, dito sa output, meron tayong 0.1 volts. Di ba? Ang dali. O, ngayon, itong nasa taas niya, ano yan? Since ang input nasa plus, non-inverting ito, 'di ba? Kung non-inverting 'yan, ano ang kanyang gain? 1 plus RF over RI. Okay? So computein agad natin, no? Yung input niya na 0.1 multiply natin sa gain na 1 plus ano ang RF? Ang RF niya 400. Okay, so 400 divided by RI which is 20. Okay. So, ang output niya dapat ay 2.1 volts. Ayan. So, dito, meron na tayong 2.1 volts. Ngayon, yung dalawang voltages na yan, papasok doon sa last circuit. No? So, kung ating mapapansin, ang input ay nasa inverting. So, inverting amplifier yan. Pero dalawa yung input. O, ay di, para siyang inverting amplifier na may dalawang inputs. Okay? So, kunin lang natin yung output due to this at i-add natin sa output due to 0.1 volts. Okay? So, ano nga yung input sa una? Okay, 2.1 volts times, ang gain niyan, negative RF over RI kasi nga inverting siya. Ano ang RF? We have 100K. Ano ang RI niya? 20. Yun. So, dahil magkaiba sila ng RI, gawa pa tayo ng isa, 0.1 times negative. Ano ang RF? Same pa din, 100K. At ano ang RI niya? 10K naman. Okay, so 10K. So, ayan, may sagot na tayo. No? Ang VOI equal sa negative 11.5 volts. O, di ba? Ang dali lang. Mukhang komplikado lang siya at overwhelming kasi dugtong-dugtong yung mga op-amp circuits. But again, it's quite easy to analyze this kind of circuits if you know the basics. Aalamin mo lang ano yung individual op-amp circuits na bumubuo sa kanila. And since alam na naman natin yung gain ng mga op-amp circuits na yan, madali nating makukuha yung output. Diba? Madali lang? Yes, madali lang yan. Next, we have here what you call a summing amplifier. Kung titingnan mo, para lang siyang isang inverting op-amp na multiple ang inputs. O, di ba? Kung inverting ang op-amp, ano ang kanyang gain? Negative RF over RI. O, di ba? So, yung RF natin, iisa naman yan, 10K. At yung RI natin, pare-parehas na 10K. So, ang gagawin mo na lang dyan is i-add mo yung inputs. Kaya ang tawag ay summing amplifier no? So we have 3 plus 1 plus 8. Di ba ito ay 4 plus 8? So 12, no? So we have 10K over 10K din. times 12. So obviously, hindi mo na kailangan ng calcu dyan. Ang output natin ay negative 12 volts. Okay? So madali ito kasi yung input resistors natin pare-parehas. Kaya dito, common factor na lang siya. Inad na lang natin yung input. Kaya ang tawag sa kanya ay summing amplifier because the output is proportional to the sum of the input voltages. Okay? So madali lang. Next problem. Itong problem naman na to, parang yung kanina rin, summing amplifier. The difference is that yung RI natin, the resistors at the input, is now different from RF. No, although pareha sila, iba na yung value niya kumpara sa RF, pero same formula pa rin yung gagamitin natin. Negative RF over RI times V1 plus V2. So, summing amplifier pa rin siya. Okay? So, yung RF natin ay 10K at yung RI natin ay 1K. Multiply natin yan ng 0.2 plus 0.5. Of course, this is 0.7 and this is 10. So, we have negative 10 times 0.7. So, we have negative 7 volts. So, ganun lang po kadali. Diba? Ang pinagkaiba lang again, ng circuit na ito is that yung value ng RI ay iba kumpara sa value ng RF. But again, yung scale multiplier natin is the same. Negative of RF over RI. So, we simply add the inputs. Again, kaya ang tawag sa kanya ay summing amplifier kasi yung output niya proportional sa sum ng input. Sir, what if magkaiba ang value ng R1 at saka R2? O di kunin mo individually. For example, ito ay 1K. Tapos ipagpalagay natin ito ay 2K. Halimbawa, o di yung VO natin ay equal sa 0.2 times negative 10K over 1K, di ba? Plus, ito 0.5 times negative RF over RI. Yung RF niya 10K and yung RI niya nagbago, no? 2K na ngayon, okay? So kung ano man ang makukuha mo diyang sagot, that's it. Yun na yung VO, okay? So hindi talaga mahirap mag-solve ng output voltage ng mga basic op-amp circuits na yan. Ano? So sa video na ito, ano ang natutunan natin? Natutunan natin yung characteristics ng mga ideal op-amps na i-compare natin sa characteristics ng mga real or practical op-amps. Hindi nagkakalayo yan. That's why we can approximate real op-amps as being ideal. No? Para ma-simplify yung analysis sa pag-compute ng output voltages. Ano? Dalawang properties ng op-amp yung ginamit natin. Una, yung katangian niya na infinite ang kanyang voltage gain. Saan ang galing yon? Galing yun sa napakalaking voltage gain ng mga tunay na op-amps. At pangalawa, yung input impedance ng op-amp ay infinite. Kaya dahil dyan, yung input niya ay parang equivalent sa isang open circuit. Saan ang galing yon? Galing yon sa katangian ng mga tunay na op-amp na ang input impedance ay napakalaki, extremely high, in the order of several mega ohms up to several hundreds of mega ohms. Natutunan natin yung gain ng inverting amplifier, non-inverting amplifier. Nalaman din natin na mayroon palang circuit na hindi nag-a-amplify, nag-a-act lang siya as a buffer. Ang tawag doon ay unity follower at ang voltage gain niya ay equal sa 1. Natutunan din natin kung paano mag-analyze at mag-solve ng differential amplifiers and natutunan natin kung paano mag-compute ng output ng mga summing amplifier. Okay? So, thank you very much for watching and I hope may natutunan kayo sa video na to. Thank you very much. Bye!